Hello, all of our UCAP friends. It's good to be here with you today. My name is Dan Gray. I am a therapist here in Salt Lake and co-founder of the LifeStar program. I was asked to speak at this year's conference on the spiritual roots of connection and attachment, but because of the cancellation of the conference, I've been asked by the UCAP board to speak just for a few moments today on the same subject, but related to the circumstances that we find ourselves in with this coronavirus epidemic. These are challenging times for all of us. I've reflected a lot on what I'm going through and those that I love and those that I am coming in contact with in my practice. This quarantine and social distancing that we're all subject to can increase feelings of isolation, withdrawal, and place additional pressure on us and stress that creates kind of a sense of insecurity and puts us individually and our families in a bit of emotional jeopardy. It can result in increased anxiety and depression, and for some of those that are dealing with and struggling with addictions or compulsive behaviors, it can provide triggers for then using those behaviors to manage and cope with life. So needless to say, this is a time for all of us to be very cognizant and aware of the importance of taking precautions, to identify things that we're needing to do to be healthy emotionally, spiritually, and physically. Fortunately, we have a lot of good direction and guidance that's been given to us here recently. I came across the Center for Disease Control suggestions that they recently came out with for us, and they've been helpful for me as I've been working through these issues myself in the last several weeks. The first is to take a break from the media. I have a tendency to watch too much news, and it's difficult at times to just wake up and start listening to the news and hear all the bad things that are happening, and to get in a little bit of a kind of a negative funk, as it were. So get up, take a break, do something enjoyable every single day, something that you really love doing, something that you've looked forward to do. Take a break, enjoy yourself. Third, eat well and sleep well. That kind of goes without saying, I'm sure, for all of us. We know that if we're not getting appropriate sleep, then we're going to be more prone to anxiety, stress, and depression as well. The fourth is to exercise daily, making sure that we are giving our body a chance to get up, move around, get our heart rate going, get a break, walk outside, connect with nature, get on that stationary bike if you need to. Just do something that is going to give you a chance to get your body in a place of healthy movement. We all need to have that. And finally, to connect often with others, which brings us to the topic and subject of this discussion. With isolation and being pulled away from our normal circumstances, being involved with people in our neighborhood or our employees or the people that we are accustomed to being with, and maybe just being alone in our apartment, in our home, or being with our family, getting on each other's nerves at times, I'm sure, but learning to enjoy the connection that we have with the people that we love, and also looking to reach out to others as well during this time. So some good recommendations. And so what does connection have to do with our health and well-being? We are all wired to connect. We know this from the studies that have been done. Those of you that have done a lot of reading, know of Brene Brown's work and other theorists and authors telling us that our mind and our bodies and our souls need to connect. We all know this intrinsically. If you just think for a moment about the most enjoyable experiences that you've had, what are the memories of joy and happiness that you can just bring up maybe right now? More than likely, if you're thinking about it, you're thinking of some event where you were with someone else. You were with either family members during Christmas or on a vacation, or with the scouts in the mountains, or with friends having fun during graduation. There can be an array of many things that we've done that bring back those positive memories of happiness. Conversely, if you think about the times when you have been in pain, when you've had feelings of insecurity, when you've felt that emotional distress, it is something to do more than likely with either being alone, with feeling rejected, or an experience where there is a tremendous loss of a relationship that you've had that now is creating pain, either through the death of someone, through a divorce, or separation from someone that you've cared deeply about. Spiritual leaders and religions and spiritual traditions over the centuries have taught us the importance of connection, and the critical nature of relationships. The Buddhists, Hindus, the Native Americans have taught for centuries that we are one with God, we are one with nature, and we are one with mankind. And that we have an intrinsic part of our nature that craves for and seeks for connectedness. In Judeo-Christian beliefs and teachings, it's very clear that the same message is critical to our well-being. The Old Testament opens with some of the words coming from God, stating it is not good for man to be alone. It is not good for our heart. It is not good for our well-being. It's not good for our soul. In the New Testament, we get that same message, that we are one with God. Jesus spoke about him being one with the Father in him, and we are in him. That message of oneness is throughout all of religious and spiritual teachings, and that we resonate with that message because we have that inborn genetic need to connect. And if we don't have that connection, then we will go through tremendous pain and suffering and discord internally. There have been some really interesting studies done as of late on the feelings and emotions of loneliness. It has been correlated actually with hunger, that the sensation of hunger is tantamount to the emotional feelings of loneliness. And this is what I mean by that we have been created to eat. Why? Because if we don't eat, we will die. And so our body has been programmed to experience hunger when we don't have food for nourishment. And that sense and feeling physically of needing to eat, and even the pain of hunger, is a message to us that we need to eat. Why? To survive. And that it actually is seen as our friend, that as painful as hunger is, it is a friend to us because it's telling us to do something that we're needing to do to survive. The emotion of loneliness is being compared to that same sensation of hunger. That when we feel lonely, when we feel that disconnect from others, when we long for companionship, when we feel then a sense of loss, a sense of disconnection from that interaction with important people in our life, that pain is telling us that we are needing to connect, just as hunger is telling us that we need to eat. And so as painful as loneliness is, in fact, it's maybe one of the most painful emotional experiences that we have, that we need to listen to it and know that we need to act soon to connect, and that pain is our friend. Because the studies have indicated that long extended periods of loneliness can actually contribute to early onset of illness, of heart disease, of other illnesses that are life-threatening. And so it is indeed actually a life or death message that we're getting from our bodies and from our emotional state, that we need to take care of this, that we need to connect. So please be very attuned to what you're experiencing right now through this isolation. Try not to let yourself get to that place where the hunger for connection becomes overwhelming, that then can lead to depression and feelings of hopelessness that this is not ever going to end. Some of you may be aware of Dr. Daniel Amen, who is a psychiatrist who's written many articles and books on the healthy brain. He has provided some really good information for us during this coronavirus situation. And I'd like to just share some of that perspective with you right now. He has laid out 5 recommendations, another 5 suggestions that have been laid out for us. The first is that we have an awareness of our spiritual connectedness to a higher power, to God as we believe God to be. And even if it's nothing more than just getting out into nature and feeling God's creations or a higher power presence in nature, but do something that is spiritually connecting us on a regular, consistent, daily basis. That could be reading the Word of God as we know it to be. It can be saying our prayers. It can be being grateful, expressing gratitude to those around us and for our own spiritual centeredness, which we'll get to in a moment here. Second is to look at the possibilities, the new possibilities of growth that these circumstances are bringing us to. And by the way, this is in reference to what he calls the post-pandemic growth, which is an interesting way of putting it. In other words, this is a way for us to not only be healthy during this time, but also to prepare us for then the rest of our life in managing and dealing with times of trauma, times of stress. So looking for those personal possibilities that we have for personal growth. Is there a hobby that I've been needing to pay attention to and develop in my life? Do I have some things that I want and need to study to increase my understanding and knowledge of things? My family, are there possibilities of growth here? I just met with a gentleman the other day who said this has been the best thing that's happened to his family, that because his children have been so involved with school and other activities for so very long, that they've never eaten together in about 3 or 4 years, and that this has provided an opportunity for them to actually eat together as a family and spend time in the evening together and talk, so everyone's not so scattered as they've been in the past. Appreciation, to express appreciation for those people that are in our lives, to have a spirit of thanksgiving where we not only notice good things that are around us, but we express those feelings to others, that others hear of our love for them and the gratitude that we feel in our hearts. The whole study of gratitude has been very profound in recent years as well. We know that gratitude, expressions of gratitude, can counter the negative impact that stress and tension has in our lives. That the cortisol and adrenaline that's created in our bodies during stress, that's very damaging to our physical well-being. It can impact our heart, can impact our early onset of heart disease, and that expressions of gratitude can be a very strong countering power and force in eliminating those feelings of stress. I've been reading recently a book here that I'd like to share with you. It's called The Gratitude Diaries, written by Janice Kaplan. Some of you have maybe been exposed to this. It's been a tremendous help for me and my wife and my family and my colleagues in dealing with difficult circumstances. Getting into that mental framework of constantly expressing gratitude, being aware of it, writing out a gratitude journal. And then the R, and by the way, this is an acronym you can see here called SPARK. Helps you to remember these particular elements to it. And the R is in regards to our relationships, of course. That connection and relationships are critical for our well-being. This is a chance during this time to change some of the relationships that maybe have been dysfunctional in the recent past. Time to maybe make amends with people. Time to connect with others in a way that's going to be more meaningful, to use our Zoom capacity like we have right here to reach out to others, spend time with those that you haven't talked to for a while, reach out to your friends and neighbors and family members that have maybe been estranged, see how they're doing, open our hearts to others. I found this to be extremely helpful for me and my family right now. And then the fifth recommendation is kick A, and I'll let you just kind of fill in the blank there. The message from Dr. Amen is that we can take this time to realize our power and our strength, and that we can make it through hard times, that we as families and individuals are warriors, and that we can battle through difficult times and feel empowered as an individual and then as a community in being able to make it through hard times. And I just want to again thank you for your time. Hopefully this will be a time for you to grow even stronger and feel power and strength in your life. Be aware of the difficult times, embrace them, but don't stay stuck. Use these recommendations and others that you may hear to grasp a hold of the possibilities and feel the power and strength that comes as we make it through and push through difficult times and gain that greater confidence in our ability to survive. And not only to survive, but to survive well. So happiness and blessings to you and your family. Thank you for your time. Thank you.